Because The View starts right now with Whoopi, Joy Behar, Candace Cameron Bure, Raven Simone, and Paula Ferris. Now, let's get things started.
Everything starts with Donald Trump. He's been taking a lot of heat for his comments lately, but it seemingly hasn't stopped him from saying anything that comes into his head. Take a look.
Don't worry about that, baby. I love babies. So I love babies. I hear that baby crying. I like it. What a baby. Actually, I was only kidding. You can get the baby out of here. That's all right. Don't worry. I think she really believed me that I love having a baby crying while I'm speaking.
He's also been catching a lot of flack from veterans groups for attacking the Khan family, but thought this was a good way to show that the military is still on his side. Take a look.
A man came up to me, and he handed me his Purple Heart. Now, I said to him, is that like the real one, or is that a copy? And he said, that's my real Purple Heart. I always wanted to get the Purple Heart. This was much easier.
First of all, there's only room for one screaming baby, and that's him.
Let me just say this. But the veteran made it very clear to reporters that this was a copy of the Purple Heart, not the real one. So, I mean...
Yeah, but he's still, the sentiment was there from the guy.
But you can't say he gave me the real Purple Heart. Because that would be the veteran disrespecting what he got it for. Because you don't just get the Purple Heart. You have to like earn the Purple Heart.
And that's like a club as much of an honor as it is. It's a club you don't want to be a part of. It's given to you when you've been injured or killed. And so even to say that so flippantly, I mean, this is people that are. It's beyond me that comes out of his mouth.
Like, it's a little desensitized, I think, to reality. And I know the RNC is kind of freaking out about what if he does decide to drop out. They've met with some of his advisors, and they're not comfortable with the direction of his campaign. And there's a provision, actually, if he does drop out, there's a provision in the RNC if a candidate dies or if a candidate drops out. They can't force him out at this point. It's rule number 9 that's up to 168 members of the RNC. They would then determine who the nominee would be. And that would have to be done by September because they got to get on the ballots in these states.
Is there even time for something like that?
It's never happened with a presidential
nominee. He's got to come up with something.
This has never happened.
He's got to come up with an excuse that he's going to drop out to just preserve his massive ego. He has got to think of something. How can I save face, you know?
Do you think there'd be a revolution? Because if he actually did, but if he was forced to, but if he dropped out himself because he maybe foresees that things aren't looking good, would people still be?
Yes,
because that'd be him.
Who are these 168 people in the RNC that are going to now make that decision? People aren't going to feel represented by them. A lot of conservatives, a lot of people on the right don't feel that the RNC represents them. So then you have someone who won by popular demand. This is their guy. They went out. They supported him. He decides he doesn't want to go run. Fine. But now, who are these 168 people? What I think was interesting.
Who are they going to support?
Yeah. Who are they going to support?
Well,
How is that
Paul
necessarily?
Ryan. They've got Mike Pence. He's charismatic.
But the person has to run. The person has to say that because Paul Ryan is like, no, I'm not running.
He doesn't want
you can't just say, oh, sorry, baby, it's you.
That's the thing.
They have to.
I think what was interesting though about that first clip with the baby, that was Donald Trump to me at his best. He's an entertainer. That was funny to me.
Yeah,
and I wanted to say, stop talking policy. Keep doing that. That's what he should be doing. He's a funny guy. He's a likable guy in many respects. I think that's what made people like him initially.
What do you mean, stop talking policy? He's running for the president.
This is what I'm saying. Get off the stage. Get off the stage. That's what I'm saying.
So, I don't know what you're saying.
What I'm saying is he shouldn't have been a candidate for president. He should have been an entertainer. He could have gone out and supported somebody and gone on the campaign.
You know what he could do? He could do that show, Tone Deaf Comedy. You know that show?
Did you find that funny, though? You're comedian. Didn't you find that?
I did.
That was one of his better moments.
Well, I knew he was being funny.
Joy, did he fire a baby? Is that what he did?
It looked like
he just told the baby,
maybe
you're fired.
build a wall around the baby and let the baby pay for it.
This is funny. Someone, Miss Johnson on Twitter wrote, that baby wanted out anyway. Babies know the truth.
Well, because the baby hadn't actually been born. What you heard was the baby crying in utero. Everybody is really kind of saying, it's enough. You can't. We don't want to hear you go on this way. I mean, you heard President Obama say it yesterday, but all kinds of folks are coming out and saying, come on. And, he's taken, you know, who did he say wasn't a real hero? John McCain. Yeah. John McCain basically said, what are you doing? Yeah. Stop doing this. And he's turned on John McCain saying, you know, you're not really.
He doesn't know if he's going to endorse John McCain. He doesn't know if he's ready to endorse Paul Ryan
and
now.
And he did it in a childish way. He took their exact words and used it against them, saying, I'm just not ready. Then the people that represent him on the different cable networks were saying, oh, that was just a coincidence. Like, he's just not ready.
Let me say one more thing about what Joe Scarborough said this morning. Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe said this morning that Trump asked a foreign policy advisor 3 times during a briefing why he couldn't just use nuclear weapons to solve the nation's problems. 3 different times. He says things like, you know, well, we have them. We have these nuclear weapons. Why not use them? I mean, I've lived through the Cold War, as have you and some of you here. It's like, the whole idea is that, okay, Russia has it and we have it. That means neither one is going to use it. And this guy says things like that. If that doesn't scare these people who are voting for him that you were talking about, if that doesn't scare them, nothing will.
Well, it's not the majority, though.
As Hillary said, what did Hillary say? A man who responds like this to Twitter cannot have his finger on the nuclear button.
On that note, though, Public Policy Polling did a poll in March of 2016, and 62% of people polled oppose attacking ISIS with nuclear weapons. He's not saying things that the majority of the country support. I mean, that's a statement that's going to scare people, especially because a lot feel that we have enough problems at home. We're always going overseas. We're dealing with everybody else's problems. We have domestic problems. There's a very non-interventionist trend in this country. So I don't know who he thinks he's courting with comments like that. It sounds irresponsible, and it also doesn't reflect.
But he has no idea what it means. He hasn't, you know, but it also means destruction in other places because you drop a nuclear bomb in one place. You know, you can't use a whole lot of the area. I mean, think of Chernobyl. Chernobyl wasn't just Chernobyl. There's a lot of other spots you can't go to.
And that wasn't even an explosion. That wasn't an explosion.
But it was a leak. But it is still a nuclear issue. Yeah. And so when you see what happens there, you know, when you explode stuff, it goes up into the atmosphere.
The fallout comes
rains, you know, it's in the soil. I mean, you can't. It's not like you can't flippantly say, "Well, what the hell with this?" Boom. You can't do it because you can't take it back.
Long-term ramifications.
It's kind of cool.
It's ridiculous. It's point.
It's kind of cool. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it anymore. It's like, I'm so freaky about all this thing. I might wear a bra. Wow. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
Coming up, Generation Sexless. Why more and more millennials say they're over having sex. So the ladies were talking reality romance.
JoJo chose her man on The Bachelorette.
Sunny?
I would prefer to see a deserted island with just one person and have people throwing flamethrowers at you, kids pulling at you, scavenging for food, because that's what marriage is like.
We're keeping it real on The View on ABC. Later, Whoopi's getting a glimpse into the future with Sirius Satellite Radio founder Martine Rothblatt and her robot. Plus, a game-changing health coach on why sauerkraut is one of the secret superfoods that'll give you the rockin' vibe you want.
So since you were a kid, your dentist has probably been telling you to floss every day, but the latest dietary guidelines from the Department of Agriculture, Health, and Human Services has dropped any mention of flossing, saying there's not enough conclusive research on doing it.
Wow.
That is not true.
We should not be telling people that. I thought it causes heart disease when you don't floss.
Yeah.
The plaque goes into your system.
It's just common sense. If you got some funk in between your teeth, there's going to be, you know, some sort of consequence. You got to floss it out.
But flossing is not the only way. You know, dentists use all kinds of things. There are all kinds of picks. I don't like flossing.
I love
flossing because it hurts my gums.
I
love it.
But you know what?
Of course you would love it, Sarah.
Pain is okay. It's bacteria getting into your gums that you don't want.
No.
And so even when sometimes you use the wax stuff, I think it's very hard on your gums, even if your gums are healthy and strong.
I have this thing called doctor's picks that I use. Yeah. And you can use them after every meal, and I have hardly any blood now when they do a thing.
But you can't get in the back, like, right here with those little
you can. You can.
It's hard. You can. You have to stick half your hand in there. I don't have that kind of
You've had Stranger Things. Never mind. You know, because as kids, we've always put stuff in our mouths.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've
that. Well, stop.
Why don't I invent something? You look at the evolution of, this is a daily conversation in my house. My boyfriend is a floss enthusiast, so every night after I brush my teeth, he's a floss enthusiast.
A recommendation.
Every night when I brush my teeth, he's like, did you floss? This is what we have to go through. But I think about entrepreneurship every time. Like, why can't I invent something? The floss used to be so difficult to manage. I remember my grandma with the dental floss every day. It used to get dirty and nasty. Now they have these little picks. Yeah. Why couldn't I invent that? I'd be a millionaire
right now.
Well, why couldn't we all invent all kinds of stuff? But, you know, I think that there are so many things I think that we have been told since childhood that we should be doing, that we just sort of do and don't realize that maybe we don't need to do it the way they said we should be doing. I think it's kind of freaky. And maybe that's why Generation X kids are so...
You're going to love this one.
I'm going to dig this. So hold on. Because the study of the archives of sexual behavior found... Did you know that there were archives of sexual behavior? Found that the millennials are twice as likely to be sexually inactive
Not true. Not
than generations before them, and they're okay with it. Now, I think it's a pile of doggy doo, but because I know lots of millennials and they are taking care of business. But maybe it's the circles I run in. I mean, is this sound?
They're too busy. They're too busy. They have phones, Twitter. They've got Snapchat. They've got, you know.
They have what?
Snapchat.
Snapchat.
Be careful how you pronounce it. That's a whole different kind of pleasure.
They don't appreciate empty, meaningless sex like my generation did.
But don't you think... Wait a second, though. But don't you think... I think we're all busy. I mean, if that's the case, we're all busy. We're always looking at our phones. Maybe this is a generation that has learned from the older generations. You know, everybody wants to pounce on the millennials and say that they're lazy and entitled. Why don't we give them a little bit of credit? Maybe they're not being as promiscuous because they value sex that much, so they don't want to have as many partners. They don't have time to get offline. I don't know. It's a theory.
They're too busy.
They're too busy on three screens. Give them a little credit, okay?
I think they're not doing it right. Because if you're doing it right, you kind of like it. If you're not doing it right, you know, there are all kinds of books we can recommend. You know, we'll put them on the website.
If you know what's also missing nowadays? A honeymoon. I mean, in my day, you went on a honeymoon. You couldn't wait to have sex with the guy. I went on a honeymoon. I was in a resort, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The whole place empties out. Where are they? They're up in their rooms doing it. Nowadays, it doesn't
They're up in their rooms playing Pokemon Go.
Now they're doing that.
They're funky. What's scary, though, to a lot, I think because it's intimacy that's scary to a lot of millennials, and it's not really their fault. It's the time they grew up in. Telephones, everything is impersonal. Texting, they don't go to the bar to ask somebody out. They text it. They don't. There's a lack of intimacy, and they're not used to it. And a lot of them tell me we're not comfortable with it. So it's not the sex, it's the intimacy. That's the problem.
Y'all are doing it wrong.
That's the last word.
We'll be right back.
Up next, Whoopi meets the visionary founder of Sirius Radio and the robot she's developed that could help us live forever.
Hey, we'll be right back with Bina 48. Right, Bina?
I look forward to talking with you, Whoopi.
Me too.
The first time I heard about Martine and Bina Rothblatt after seeing them on Morgan Freeman's Nat Geo series, Story of God, I really wanted to meet these folks because Martine is a transgender woman who was named one of the highest paid CEOs. She created a robot with artificial intelligence in her wife's image. But the robot, I thought the robot was the story. No, darling. We didn't even get to scratch the surface of their remarkable journey. Take a look. Have you ever wondered just how much one person can do in a lifetime? Well, I found an answer in rural Vermont when I went to meet Martine and Bina Rothblatt.
I'm Bina.
I'm Whoopi, a couple at the forefront of innovation.
Whoopi Goldberg's here. That's astonishing. Whoa, this is royalty.
Between the solar panels and the wind, 100% of the electricity and the plumbing to pump the well water and everything comes from the sun.
So you're off the grid.
We're completely off the grid. But actually, it's even better. We help the grid because we make more energy than we need, and we put it back into the grid to help everybody else in the community.
This is one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, because there seems to be an amazing sort of giving spirit to other people. How did you get to it? How did you know that you could and that you should?
We just like giving and helping and changing the world quietly.
Born and raised as Martin Rothblatt, he was the son of middle-class parents who instilled faith and a strong work ethic. Martine, as she would later become, learned early on that the only way you fail is by not trying.
I met a NASA engineer, And this NASA engineer answered all these questions I had, like, why is this satellite dish as big as a whole house? Because we're receiving a little tiny, teeny signal from Jupiter. I said, what if the signal was very, very powerful and loud? He said, then the satellite dish could be as small as your hand. And I said, why aren't there any big satellite sounds like that? And he said, nobody has made it. And it was like, Martine, that's what you're going to do. Made a beeline all the way back to Los Angeles, enrolled at UCLA, majored in communication studies, became an expert on satellites, graduated, started Sirius XM, and that's my whole life in a nutshell.
That nutshell turned out to be Sirius XM Radio, a company that now has over 30 million subscribers. But his professional success was overshadowed by a very personal secret.
During this whole time, I'm running like two people in my head. I'm running the Martin that everybody sees, and I'm running the Martine that nobody sees. I never really understood the best word for it until I read W.B. Du Bois, and he talks about, when you're black in America, you have to run a double consciousness. You have to run like who you are and how you think the other people are perceiving you, and it's taxing.
The two yous that were running. When did you decide, I'm not going to do this anymore?
I decided in stages. We were laying in bed one day, and I explained to her, I said, look, I really feel like I'm actually a woman, and I would like to, it's possible to change yourself from a male to a female in your body. Venus happiness is essential to me. I told her right in bed, I said, if this makes you uncomfortable, I won't do it. I won't do this transition. She says, I fell in love with your soul, Martine. What the gender is irrelevant to me.
And for the first time in my life, I saw how two individuals actually can become one, unified in their desire to do more.
And Bina's got this brilliant idea to change that on vertical urban farming.
What is that? There's so many empty buildings in poor neighborhoods and the ghetto and all these things, and you can actually turn these into urban farms.
Have you carved out 4 or 5 minutes to put this in?
That's our issue. I mean, I'm a doer, a maker, and I don't usually talk this much either. I just go do things.
Bina's the doer, I'm the maker, you're the communicator. The three of us together, we can lift up the world.
I like that idea.
Pretty extraordinary.
Because you're going to do one thing, you're going to see one thing that you've heard about, but then you sit with these folks, and the story just is, and this was just a scratch of the surface, because there's more when we come, when we come back. But oh my God, they are.
Well, there are two things that are blaring here: the mind and the heart. It shows the capacity of someone to make a difference if they put their mind to it. But the part that really left me was the beauty of their hearts. The fact that she said that. What was the most moving part? Because this is a resume that I can't even see the end of.
I mean, the whole thing. I mean, everything, and that was what kind of knocked me out. I mean, I was gobsmacked by them, because they do this. Nobody knows they're doing it. They go and they do this thing because this is what they want to make it better. And, I mean, the whole town, they just give them energy because they can. And they know that they can do these things. And so they do them not just for their family, but for other folks. You'll see there's more. When we come back, Martine and Bina share how their devastation after their young daughter was struck with an illness that threatened to kill her. And what they did will absolutely knock you out. We'll be right back. We just shared this story of Martine Rothblatt, a transgender woman who founded Sirius XM at the height of her success. Martine and her wife Bina were dealt an unimaginable blow. Their youngest daughter, Genesis, faced a life-threatening diagnosis. Take a look.
Your daughter has a 1 in a million disease, pulmonary arterial hypertension. She's got 3 years to live. So I said to the doctor, is there some treatment? No, there's no medicines approved for this condition, nothing. What can we do? Everybody else who was supposed to fix this problem wasn't fixing the problem. So we looked at each other and we said, we've got to do this ourselves. You just see the sand dribbling through the hourglass, it's like getting less and less and less. And finally, we find this medicine. They tell us it's in a freezer. At a big pharmaceutical company, we persuade them to sell it to us. We use our money from Sirius XM to take this medicine, hire people, do a clinical trial, get it approved. And now not only Genesis, but there's like 40,000 people in America alive with pulmonary hypertension. All those people would have been dead.
You were here.
I'm here. When I was diagnosed, they said I wouldn't live more than, 3 years, really.
You got saved. But now you're saving other
folks.
United Therapeutics just had our 20th anniversary. The only cure for pulmonary hypertension is to have a double lung transplant. But when they take the organs from the donors, they take them in a very specific order once someone has passed away. By the time they take the lungs, most of the time they're not good enough to be used anymore. We have a method of taking those lungs that would typically be just thrown away, and we can put them into a sort of incubator.
Right.
And the tissue will start to change color and it becomes more healthy. And after just a few hours, it's brought back to a completely healthy state, and it can then be transplanted into someone. And we've actually saved, I think it was January, was 14 lives in this January with our refurbished lungs, as I like to call them.
And if all this weren't enough, they're looking towards the future. Martine developed an AI robot, Bina 48, as the first steps towards keeping loved ones' legacies and memories alive.
So AIs are people too. Okay, the only difference is they're people without skin. Our videos of ourselves, our pictures, our chats, our tweets, all of this stuff will be combined together with a new kind of software called mindware that will be an operating system that works the way the human mind works.
Is it here already?
It's coming very, very quickly. You see it in Bina 48, you see the beginnings of it.
I mean, I'm very excited to meet you.
Thanks. You are a nice person. Whoopi.
Thank you.
Whoopi Goldberg, one of the most famous female comedians in the U.S. Whoopi Goldberg is also known for her dramatic performances in the films The Color Purple and Ghost.
I'm going to say goodnight now.
Goodbye now.
I don't think any of us have any words. It's so extraordinary, but how far are we away? We have Siri, but how far are we away from this?
We're not really that far away. I mean, they're going to be able to create this so that people can, you know, come and see your AI and talk to you because all of your thoughts and feelings have been uploaded. I mean, the idea that two people can sit down, and granted, you know, they've used everything they have to make the world better. And when I said, listen, if you start to make all of these limbs and things that people can replace, what happens when nobody dies? And they said, they pointed up and said, we'll find another planet.
Wow.
I mean, it's just everything is possible. I mean, the future is an amazing thing. And I just want to point out, the man who helped me shoot this is sitting right there. That's Rudy. I just want to say thank you because we were really knocked out. And of course, you know, this story, what they've been able to do and how they've been able to save all kinds of folks and save lungs that would be tossed away, never used. I mean,
that is something.
I mean, you think about, oh my God, what can I do? Well, we as individuals, whether we have a lot of money or not, we can do a lot. We just have to look and see how we can help, and that's what they do. And I was so happy to meet them because it's so much positive future.
Right. Say what you said though about them, like when you said one of them is, they're both amazing. I love how you package that.
I just was saying that, you know, that individually they're brilliant. Together they're like an amazing, unstoppable thing, and they're ours because they're human and American and they're here. So we want to say thanks to Martine and Bina and Genesis Rothblatt, an extraordinary family quietly changing the world for the better. For more information, log on to our website if you want to find out. Is there a place to go to upload your memories? Yes, there is. We'll be right back.
Health Coach Robin Euclid here. I've got the superfoods you need to start eating, and my menu will blow your mind and totally transform your bod.
This week on The View, can you handle a full day of Hot Topics? And anything goes when Magic Man Penn Jillette hits the table. Plus, tomorrow we're announcing the winner of our Fantasy Movie League. Who will win? This week on The View on ABC.
A diet and exercise regimen that actually makes a difference can be a soul-crushing experience. But wellness expert and best-selling author of the book, Go With Your Gut, The Insider's Guide to Banishing the Bloat, says we're just not looking in the right place. Please say hello to Robin Euclid. Did I say that right?
Yes.
I said it
Very impressive.
right.
Very impressive.
Okay, so tell me about your theory on this.
Yeah, I'm really here to teach you why it's so important to have a healthy gut, and here's going to be some foods of how you can have a healthy gut.
Okay, so do you talk about banishing the bloat?
Yes.
You know, when right before that time of the month, you're bloated and retaining.
It's adorable, right? The whole thing, the whole gut conversation's really, really sexy.
You're retaining Lake Mead, for example. What are you supposed to do about that bloat?
Yeah, so bloat is typically, we use that as more like, you know, I'm not feeling my healthiest or sexiest. So what we can do about that is simplify our foods and chew. So chewing to liquid. No one taught us how to chew, right?
Chew to liquid?
To liquid before you swallow it.
Pulverize that stuff in
Get
there.
it out of there. And I promise, try this for 1 week. You will see a huge difference down here.
Okay.
All right, so some
What do you have
gut-friendly
here?
foods. Yes, so from my book, Go With Your Gut, we've got these lovely salmon burgers, but on top, what's most important is we have sauerkraut, which is raw, fermented, cultured sauerkraut, and that is going to be rich in probiotics, which are great for your belly.
Don't make a face. You're like eating with a kid.
I don't like
That looks delicious.
sauerkraut. I like it on a hot dog, not on salmon.
I promise, I'm going to make it really, really tasty for you.
Okay, we're going to jump. I think we're jumping over, right?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk
Now,
about
this is going to be, my mom told me not to talk about bathroom humor, but we recently both had babies.
Yes.
So poop is a topic of conversation, and you said we need to be...
Oh, my God.
I thought you were on the poop. I was like,
Yeah.
Yes, our babies they're pretty cute. But so you said as adults we should be thinking about that.
Yes, we want to be going at least once a day. 3 times is even great. You want to be feeling the flow, feeling that it's nice and easy and happening consistently and regularly. So some foods here, rich in probiotics, populating your gut is going to help you do that. So, you want to make some sauerkraut?
Yes.
Okay. So you can make your own with just some thinly shredded cabbage. You want to massage it. You're going to add some sea salt.
You massage it.
Massaging your kraut and get some of that moisture that's coming out. Sea salt. Himalayan pink sea salt. And then once you get the juice, you're going to want to do this for another 10 minutes. It's a great arm workout, I promise. And then you pack it in your sauerkraut jar. And then once it's to the top, you just simply
What if you
pull these
don't
leaves.
have a sauerkraut jar?
You just need... That's just fancy code for a jar that you can fit your fist in.
I brought her here for the tough questions.
So you want the liquid line to come up like we've got here. You put your lid on, and then you leave this out on the counter to ferment about 2 weeks, and then you're going to have a probiotic-rich food here that tastes amazing, I promise. And I made some upgraded avocado toast with it. Yeah.
2 weeks? You eat that? You
eat that, and then when it's done, you like it tastes nice and zesty. You put it in the fridge.
Can you use it as a facial?
Yes. There's nothing sauerkraut can't do. Bloating, pooping, everything. You're covered.
You're not savvy in the kitchen, like some of us, I don't know who they are, but myself. Can you do it just store-bought? Can you buy?
Yes, you absolutely can buy it. You want to make sure it's in the refrigerator section.
Okay.
And that there's no vinegar.
Okay.
Straightforward. And then, of course, we can't talk about pooping without water. Because
can we not?
We cannot. I like to think about water and pooping as water is the river that floats the boat. So we need that.
Okay, I'm there with
so
you.
First thing in the morning, lemon's great. I drink it, keep it on my nightstand.
Before coffee?
Before coffee, before tea, before anything.
Does it need to be warm?
Room temp, cold, anything is totally fine as long as you're having it.
How much do you have to drink, really?
I like these 24-ounce mason jars because you
can't
get
do
a
that.
large
That's
amount.
too big.
Anything you can do. Here, let's find like a little shot glass.
Why can't I have the coffee first and then the water? What's the big deal?
Because you want to hydrate first so that everything gets nice and moving down there.
The boat. Did you not understand the analogy?
Get it moving. And I find my husband's in the shower all the time, so you can drink it anywhere.
I see.
Oh my gosh.
Alrighty.
I like that. Now this third one, this is, I want to make sure, this is the gut. Start with your gut.
This is the Go With Your Gut gummies. I believe how we digest our food is how we digest our lives. So when everything's flowing in here, it's typically flowing out here. So we've just got some great gut-friendly foods from the book to highlight. So bone broth is really trendy right now. Rich in collagen, gelatin.
Bone broth.
It's your grandma's chicken soup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right? So your
Translate.
Yeah, your grandma knew what she was talking about.
Do you want to taste that?
No.
It just tastes like stock. It's delicious, but it's
beef
really
stock,
like
no?
beef stock.
Okay.
But you can make it with chicken bones, keeps your gut healthy, calms everything down there as well. Again, you're seeing a theme here. Nice and calm and flowing. And then one of my favorite foods from the book are these star-shaped gummies. They're great for kids.
Yeah, what's
gelatin. So here's some powdered gelatin. This is what it looks
Jell-O?
like.
Can I have one?
Yes. But this is the good for your gut kind of Jell-O. And it's not too sweet, really tangy,
the one you touched.
but amazing for your belly.
That is good.
I feel so
Thank you.
good. Yeah. All right.
And we have these cute little star shapes here too, which make it kind of fun and the kids can.
And these are like shot glasses or what?
Those are shot glasses. But I told you,
Throw her
we
back,
could have
Joy.
some shots.
Throw her back. And then what's this over here?
So this is kombucha. This is another fermented food. It's a drink that's been fermented. It's from tea, and it's also really good for your gut, your metabolism, bloating, energy, everything we're talking about here today.
So this isn't just about diet or losing weight. This is about health and cleaning.
And diet.
Exactly.
Here with our instant recap, Joy Behar. We want to thank you. A big thanks to Robin Euclid for these recipes and more information. Go to our website. Go With Your Gut. The Insider's Guide to Banishing the Bloat is available now. And members of our studio audience are going home with a copy. We'll be right back.
Happy 20th anniversary. Wow.
Congratulations, 20.
The big 2-0.
Oh, 2 in the bowl.
Happy 20th.
No.
20.
too old.
20.
I lost my virginity when I was 20.
Happy too old.
For real? And you still happy 20th.
Happy Big 2-0, The View.
The View Season 20. The party starts September 6th on ABC. Tomorrow, we're making room for an entire show of the hottest topics on TV. Plus, as the panic over Zika in America grows, find out everything you need to know to keep your family safe.
So I'm a little freaked out because I'm going to Las Vegas to do my very first Star Trek convention tomorrow. So that'll be interesting. But then I'm performing, you know, I'm in a casino at Treasure Island on Friday. If you happen to be in Las Vegas, you know, I love Las Vegas, so come and play.
Are you driving? You driving there?
No, I have to fly because I have to be there tomorrow.
Oh, you are flying?
Yeah, I have to fly.
How much medication are we talking?
A lot. And I will be very happy when I like it. You know, I might just be reading all kinds. Maybe read The Godfather.
There you go.
So, do you feel like you could, you know, release a lot more now since you got the book? Can you?
Oh, the river, the flowing.
Oh, the flow.
The drinks. The little jellies. 3 times a day, Joy. 3 times a day.
There's a couple of deal breakers
I'm scared sitting next to y'all. I'm just going to say this. We want everybody to have a great day. We want you to take a little time to enjoy whatever view you happen upon, and if you have to let a little wind out, do it slowly.